Tunde's hands trembled as he dialed the number. The ringing felt like a ticking time bomb in his ears. He looked around the darkened street, sweat dripping down his face despite the cool night air. The others were watching him, Chikere, Sola, Emeka, each one just as scared. Pick up, he muttered under his breath. Then, the call connected. Where is my money? The deep, menacing voice of Big Mofe sent chills down his spine. Tunde swallowed hard. We need more time. Just a little more. Time is up, boy. The call ended. A shiver ran through him. He turned to his friends. We have to move. Now. It had all started so innocently. Just 4 broke high school boys, struggling to survive the ruthless streets of Lagos. Tunde was the hustler, always looking for the next way to make quick cash. Chikere, the brainy one, thought he was too smart to ever get caught up in trouble. Sola, smooth-talking and fearless, believed in taking risks. And Emeka. He just followed, too scared to make decisions, but too loyal to walk away. The sun hung lazily over Lagos, casting a humid haze over the streets. Tunde kicked a stone as he walked alongside Chikere, Sola, and Emeka. The 4 had been friends since childhood, bonded by their shared struggle in the rundown neighborhood of Ajigona. Life had never been kind to them, and as high school students with no money, no connections, and no real future in sight, they dreamed of an escape, any escape. I swear, if one more person tells me to focus on my studies, I lose my mind, Emeka muttered, shoving his hands into his worn-out pockets. Study what? Sola scoffed. We don't even have money for WAC forms. No money, no future. Simple. Unless you become a Yahoo boy, Chikere joked, though the idea lingered in all their minds longer than it should have. Tunde stayed quiet. His mind raced with possibilities, but none of them seemed realistic. He had heard stories of boys from the hood who made it out, some legally, most not. He just didn't know how to cross that bridge himself. Little did they know, their chance was coming. And it would change everything. The rumors had been around for years. An old, abandoned house at the end of their street, crumbling, untouched, and supposedly haunted. They had passed it countless times, never daring to enter. But that day, desperation made them bold. Let's check it out, Chikere suggested. Who knows, maybe we'll find some old treasure. Sola laughed. Or a ghost. The front door creaked open under Emeka's push, revealing a dimly lit interior, covered in dust and cobwebs. The air smelled of decay and something else, something rotten. Maybe we should go back, Tunde said, feeling uneasy. But then, they heard it. A low, metallic clang from beneath the floorboards. Chikere was the first to react. He bent down, knocking on the wooden floorboards. Hollow. There's something under here, he whispered. The boys exchanged glances before Sola grabbed a broken piece of metal and began prying the floor open. It took minutes, but when the wood gave way, they all gasped. A duffel bag. Old, dusty, but heavy. Tunde unzipped it, and his breath caught in his throat. Money. Bundles upon bundles of naira notes, stacked neatly, like a dream materialized into reality. They had never seen so much cash in their lives. Oh my God, Emeka whispered. We are rich. But deep down, Tunde knew this wasn't a blessing. This was a trap. This isn't normal, Tunde said, stepping back. Who hides this kind of money here? Maybe someone forgot it. Chikere suggested, though his voice lacked conviction. Sola shook his head. Money like this. Nobody forgets. This belongs to someone dangerous. Emeka sighed. Then what do we do? Leave it here. Let some other person find it. Silence. Then Chikere spoke what they were all thinking. Or we take it and change our lives. And just like that, their fate was sealed. The decision had been made. They wouldn't tell anyone. They would be careful. Small spending, nothing too flashy. At first, it worked. New shoes to replace their torn sneakers. Better food instead of the cheap street snacks they were used to. Life felt different. Easier. I feel like a king, Sola grinned as he bit into a plate of jollof rice at an expensive booker. And no one suspects a thing, Chike added. As long as we stay low. They thought they were in control. They were wrong. Money changed them even if they didn't admit it. New clothes, fresh haircuts, and confidence they never had before. Girls started noticing. Strangers started paying attention. Guy, I think we need to slow down, Tunde warned one evening. People are watching. Relax, Emeka laughed. We're just enjoying life a little. What's the worst that can happen? They would soon find out. It happened in the most unexpected way. A local thug, Toffa, stopped them outside a shop. You boys been spending plenty, he said, his tone casual but his eyes sharp. You hit a jackpot. They laughed it off, but the warning was clear. Be careful, Toffa muttered before walking away. Big Mofe don't like people touching his money. The name sent chills down Tunde's spine. Big Mofe. The nightmare had just begun. Despite the warning, the boys couldn't help themselves. They threw a small party at a local club, just to celebrate a little. A few drinks, some music, and the thrill of being untouchable. But someone was watching. A pair of eyes from the shadows. Calculating. Waiting. The walls were closing in, and they didn't even know it. The next day, a police officer named Inspector Bade visited their school. I hear some students have been living large lately, he said, his eyes scanning the crowd. Somebody spending money they shouldn't have. Tunde felt his stomach drop. They were officially on the radar. That night, Tunde couldn't sleep. Every shadow outside his window felt like a threat. Then he saw it. A figure standing under the streetlight. Watching their apartment. Waiting. He shut his curtain, heart pounding. They weren't just being paranoid anymore. Someone was coming for them. The mood had changed. The thrill of wealth was gone, replaced by an uneasy tension. Did you see that man last night? Tunde asked the next morning. He was watching my house. Maybe it's nothing, Chike suggested, but even he didn't sound convinced. Or maybe it's Big Mofe's men, Sola said quietly. Emeka swallowed hard. We need to lay low. No more spending. No more attention. But it was too late for that. Their fate was already sealed, they've been caught and are now on the run. Emeka let out a terrified yelp as a bullet ricocheted off a metal sign nearby. They are shooting at us, he cried. Just keep running. Tunde shouted. They burst into an old mechanic's yard, ducking behind a row of rusted cars. The heavy scent of oil and burnt rubber filled the air. The SUV skidded to a stop outside the entrance. Silence. The boys held their breath. Then, heavy footsteps. A voice. I know you're in there. Big Mofe's men had no intention of leaving without their money. Tunde clenched his fist. They had to escape. But how? Tunde's mind raced. The only way out was through the back fence, but it was topped with barbed wire. If they hesitated, they were dead. He signaled to Sola, who nodded. We make a run for it, Tunde whispered. Chike wiped the sweat from his forehead. Are you crazy? We'll never make it. We don't have a choice, Sola countered. A flashlight beam swept over the rusted cars. Come out, boys, a gruff voice called. We only want to talk. Lies. Everyone knew what happened to people who crossed Big Mofe. Tunde grabbed a rusted wrench lying nearby. If they got caught, they had to fight. He took a deep breath and whispered, "On my count. 1, 2, 3. They bolted toward the fence. Gunfire erupted behind them. A bullet shattered the side mirror of an abandoned car. Chika yelped, grabbing his arm as he stumbled. "Chikari!" Emeka shouted, rushing to help him. "Go!" Chika groaned, clutching his bleeding arm. Tunde hesitated. Leaving Chika behind wasn't an option. The men were closing in. Sola scaled the fence fast, slicing his palm on the barbed wire but not stopping. Emeka followed, then Tunde. But Chika was struggling, his strength failing. The door to the mechanic yard burst open. Big Mofe's men poured in. Tunde reached down, grabbing Chika's arm. "I've got you, bro, climb." The leader of the group raised his gun, aiming straight at them. A single gunshot rang out. Then, silence. Chika let out a strangled cry, his body going limp in Tunde's grip. "No. No, no, no." Tunde screamed as he pulled him over the fence with all his strength. The others grabbed Chika and dragged him to safety as another shot fired, missing them by inches. Tunde felt the burn of scraped skin as he hit the ground, but there was no time to care. They had to run. Sola pulled Chika's arm over his shoulder, struggling under his weight. "We need to stop the bleeding." Emeka ripped off his shirt and pressed it to Chika's wound. "Stay with us, bro, stay with us." Behind them, the voices of Big Mofe's men faded, but Tunde knew it wasn't over. They had just bought themselves a little time. They staggered into the slums of Ajigona, slipping into a dark alley. The stench of rotting garbage and stagnant water filled their noses, but they didn't care. They were alive. For now. Sola turned to Tunde. "We need to get rid of that money. It's not worth dying for." Tunde clenched his fists, the weight of their mistake crashing down on him. "It's too late for that." Chika groaned, his face pale. "They're not going to stop, are they?" Tunde shook his head. "No. Not until we're dead." A shadow moved in the alley. They weren't alone. The four boys froze, their breath hitching as the darkness shifted. A low, gravelly voice emerged from the shadows. "You boys are in deep trouble." Tunde's heart pounded. Was it one of Big Mofe's men? Or someone worse? A figure stepped forward. The dim glow of a streetlight revealed a scarred face and a chilling smirk. It was Reza, one of the deadliest street enforcers in Lagos. He had a reputation for making people disappear. "Hand over the money," Reza said calmly, cracking his knuckles. "Or we do this the hard way." Tunde tightened his grip on the bag. They were trapped between two devils. And there was no way out. "We don't have the money," Tunde lied, his voice steadied despite the fear crawling up his spine. Reza's smirk widened. "Wrong answer." In a blur of motion, he grabbed Tunde by the collar and slammed him against the damp brick wall. The impact rattled through his bones, knocking the breath from his lungs. Chika groaned weakly beside them, his bleeding arm still pressed against his side. "Where is it?" Reza hissed. His breath smelled of cheap cigarettes and blood. Sola took a step forward. "Leave him alone." Reza's hand shot to his waistband. A glint of silver. A knife. "You think you can talk to me like that?" Reza sneered. "I could cut you open right here, and no one would blink." Tunde's mind raced. They had to get out of this, but how? He needed time to think, time to plan. He forced a shaky breath and met Reza's gaze. "Big Mofe's men are looking for us. If you kill us, they'll think you took the money. Do you really want that kind of heat?" Reza hesitated. His grip loosened slightly. Sola seized the moment. "If we work together, maybe we can all make it out alive." Reza studied them, then exhaled sharply. "You have one day. Get me my share, or I start carving." He disappeared into the shadows, leaving them gasping for air. Tunde wiped his sweaty brow. "We need a new plan." Sola nodded grimly. Because now, we have two devils on our tail. The boys didn't waste time. They needed a safe place, somewhere to regroup and figure out their next move. The slums of Ajigona were a maze of danger and deception, but they knew one person who might help, Mama Busy. She ran a small buka deep in the heart of the slums, feeding hungry mouths by day and trading secrets by night. If anyone had information on Big Mofe, it was her. Tunde led the way, his mind a whirlwind of plans. They reached the buka, slipping inside through the back. The smell of pepper soup and fried plantain filled the air, but none of them had an appetite. Mama Busy sat behind the counter, her sharp eyes narrowing as she spotted them. Why do you look like death chased you here? Sola wasted no time. We need help, Mama. Big Mofe and Razor are after us. She sighed, wiping her hands on her wrapper. I warned you boys. Easy money is the devil's bait. Tunde stepped forward. We don't have time for lectures. We need to disappear. Mama Busy studied them for a long moment, then motioned them closer. There's one way. But it will cost you. Chike groaned, barely able to stay on his feet. We don't have much left. She leaned in. Then you better find a way. Because the only thing worse than Big Mofe's anger is betrayal. A chill ran through Tunde's spine. What do you mean? Mama Busy's lips pressed into a thin line. Someone sold you out. Sola stiffened. Who? She exhaled. Find out fast. Because the enemy you don't see is the one that kills you. Silence stretched between them as Mama Busy's words sank in. Someone had betrayed them. But who? Tunde's mind raced through the possibilities. Was it one of them? Had someone cracked under the pressure? We need names, Sola said, his jaw tightening. Who sold us out, Mama? She shook her head. I don't deal in guesses, boy. Only facts. But I know this, Big Mofe knew exactly where to find you. That means someone tipped him off. A loud crash outside made everyone jump. A bottle shattered against the wall near the entrance. The sound of heavy boots echoed in the alley. They found you, Mama Busy hissed. Out to the back, now.